looking back now, what I realized is the war doesn't really start where missiles land or where artillery lands. It starts in the mind when you realize that something that you relied on your whole life, something where you grew up with the whole life, is not guaranteed anymore. And for me, that was my home, that was my family, that was my culture, my language, my freedom, everything that I believed in. So for me, looking back now, decision to go back to Ukraine was the easiest one to make for myself and for my integrity.
Now, imagine you are overseas. Imagine you are 4,000 miles from home and the news comes in. You see the news that your home country, your homeland has been invaded by a brutal and powerful aggressor. We're talking about Ukraine. We are talking about Russia. And my next two guests, Viktoriia and Maryna Honcharuk, well, they faced that and they decided what to do, and they did it. Took very different roles, but equally important roles in the defence of their country. Viktoriia Honcharuk, good to have you here. Thank you for coming in.
Thanks for having us.
It's lovely to have you. And Maryna Honcharuk, sister to Viktoriia, thank you for coming in too.
Thank you for having us.
You're very, very welcome. Viktoriia, can I start with you? First of all, just describe, if you can, your feelings and your thoughts. You were there in New York City and you saw the news that Ukraine, your homeland, had been invaded, was being invaded by Russian troops, the armour and the forces pouring over the border. I'm sure you can remember how it felt then.
Yeah, I was in California actually at the time, and not in New York City, but similar feelings would be if I was in California. It's in New York City or California, doesn't matter. It's really hard to describe, honestly, the feelings, because I was at a work call when that happened, and I just started seeing the news and getting the messages from people. And I was really confused because I really did not believe that this could happen, that somebody could launch a full-scale invasion on a European country in 2022. This just seemed impossible to me. So I was just really confused at first and then trying to figure out what's going on. And looking back now, what I realized is the war doesn't really start where missiles land or where artillery lands. It starts in the mind when you realize that something that you relied on your whole life, something where you grew up with the whole life, is not guaranteed anymore. And for me, that was my home, that was my family, that was my culture, my language, my freedom, everything that I believed in. So for me, looking back now, decision to go back to Ukraine was the easiest one to make for myself and for my integrity.
You describe it as an easy decision. That's interesting in itself. What were you doing? You had a bit of a dream job out in the States.
I did, yes. I was just starting my career in investment banking. Yeah. I was doing investment banking at Morgan Stanley in New York City.
Yeah, I can still hear a bit of an American twang.
Trying to get rid of it.
It sounds fine. Don't see why you want to get rid of it. Okay, so you decided to do your bit, and what you ended up doing was to be an army medic.
Yes. First few months of the war, I wasn't there, so very different story from my sister. She'll say that in a minute. Yeah. I first started helping with just finances, supplies, everything that was needed in the first few months. But when I realized that, okay, it's time for me to work with my hands and actually be on the ground, I left my job. I went to Ukraine, and I was helping my sister when she was a medic on evacuation with some supplies, and it was very interesting for me. Although I didn't have any training previously, I was afraid of blood. I was afraid of needles. Right. And I was like, I think I can be a medic if I need to be. That's what my country needs me to do. That's what Europe needs me to do, because I believe this is a far greater war than just in Ukraine. So I was like, okay, I'm going to do whatever it is that is needed. So I went.
So you went over afraid of blood, afraid of needles, and you end up a battlefield medic. And Maryna, your story is very different, isn't it? And where were you when the invasion happened?
Actually, I was in Kiev. For me, after the revolution of dignity, there was a true vision that Russia won't stop. And there weren't for me any options to run away if some big war started or stand aside. Yeah. That was the clear vision for me that if the big war starts, I will fight in some way. I didn't know which way, but yes, I knew that I will fight.
You decided you were going to be on the battlefield fighting. And when I said you did a different thing to your sister, you couldn't have been more different. I mean, you became, didn't you, the first female assault trooper in the Ukrainian military? Maybe. We're going to give you credit for that. Anyway, but it's quite a thing to take on. Tell me, what went through your mind when you decided you wanted to join the fighting on the battlefield? You wanted to fight, you wanted to kill the enemy. How does that work in your mind? Can you explain that?
Firstly, I was a medic in the medical evacuation,
Right.
and then I dig my way to the infantry. Then I was in the infantry. I do some combat medic stuff like training injuries in the trenches. Then the commanders said that we have to head to assault. So I had another option because I'm a soldier actually.
Yes.
And when the assault groups were made, I won one of them and doing my job as a medic in the assault group.
Yeah. So there you were. Started off as a medic, end up as a battlefield trooper. Can you just remember the point when you joined the battle? Because most of us, I think, frankly, Maryna, can't imagine that. I struggle to imagine that in my case. I'm of a generation, and I'm getting on a bit, has had no experience of war, and you have seen it up close with all the horrors that go with it.
Actually, I had very great group of people with me. That was my friends who unfortunately were killed by Russia by this day. And for me, it was just a funny party with my friends, despite all this artillery fire or something like that. That was just a good company, and I knew that I am doing a good job. I'm defending for my country. I standing for my land.
Yes.
So there was no fear or something like that.
Yes. Well, you make it sound almost simple. No fear.
Well, humor is very helpful in the battlefield. Just trying to laugh at everything that's going on around you.
And you've worked with battlefield troops. You've treated battlefield troops who've been injured and severely injured in the line of battle. I'm just thinking about you now, Viktoriia, thinking about your sister while she is there on the front line, and you are doing what you are doing in the really difficult conditions of a battlefield medical facility, and you must be constantly worried about how your sister is doing.
I was. I started my medic work with different brigades, not my sister brigades, and I was constantly worried where she is and how her experiences, how her assaults were. And when I switched to work with her battalion specifically, for me it was so much better because I could hear her voice in the radio chatter. I knew exactly where she was and how things were there. So for me it was very peaceful to know what's going on, at least at all times with her.
Yeah, and in your job, working as an army medic, I've seen something about you. At first you were dealing with relatively straightforward casualties, and as the battle grew more fierce, well, the injuries grew more awful. The amputations, limbs being torn off. You saw people die on tables in front of you. That is not an easy thing to do.
It is not. I don't know what you want me to say here, but I try to dissociate myself from the injuries, and that definitely helped me. Just my hands are doing whatever is needed to be done, and my brain is catching up later. Because the worst thing you can do is to be worried, to panic, to be hectic, especially if a person is in pain, and you look at the medic as the only source and sole person that's going to help them. And if you're worried and if you look like you don't know what you're doing, if you're panicking, they're going to panic as well, and we don't want that.
You have to be professional. And at times you're really very close to the front line yourself. So there is very real danger, Viktoriia.
Yeah, but that's
you
what we need to do.
You shrug your shoulders as if that is normal. That's what you have to deal with.
I mean, many nations in the history have made the same decision. Ukraine made it 4 years ago now. UK has made that decision in 85 years ago, right? When Winston Churchill said, "We shall not surrender, we shall fight." Same as what Ukraine did 4 years ago.
Yes. Sometimes you had to treat the enemy.
Yeah.
What was that like?
We have to treat them the way we treat everyone. We know that Russians are very cruel with our prisoners of war, but we cannot be like that, and we have to treat them the same way.
Yeah, and you would have been, I suppose, on the battlefield in the business sometimes of taking prisoners.
Actually, I have to say that almost all Russian soldiers, they don't look like real soldiers, professional soldiers. Soldiers, they look like old poor men who are treated by Russia like just fire meat or something. And when a lot of them like come to our positions, they surrender and they like, whew, I am free now, actually. And the only feeling I got to all the prisoners of war was pity, I guess, because they are too like they don't like a danger or something like that.
Yes, I've heard it said that Russian prisoners, when they're captured, one thing they say a lot of the time is that they're there for the money. That's the reason they've joined the army and gone into battle.
Actually, yeah, it's always money or going out of prison or something like that, because they pay a lot in Russia for the soldiers, but sometimes they even didn't get that money they should be given.
Yeah, I wonder what it was like for the soldier. You captured a Russian soldier yourself, didn't you? I wonder what that soldier felt about being captured by a woman.
Actually, I'm not the one who captured it, but I was in the group.
Yeah.
I guess he was very shocked seeing a woman in the assault group, actually. But that prisoner actually was very educated one. He knew about Stepan Bandera. He knew about Ukrainian history a lot. And I guess in his picture of life, it was okay. So it's Ukrainian woman who is standing for her independence, independence of her country. So
okay. I want to ask you first, lastly, because time's run out. I wish we could talk for longer, guys. It's been so interesting to have you here. Can I just ask you this? It's not an easy question. After all you've seen and all you've done in this war, has it changed you, Maryna?
I guess I have become less emotional, actually. I wasn't too emotional in civilian life, and now I'm less emotional, more tough, I guess, and more stress resistant. Thank you.
Well, I guess I can understand that. What about you? Has it changed you, Viktoriia?
Same. I became more. I gained more resilience for sure. I became less emotional too. That also made me appreciate little things about life a lot more. Mm-hmm. So I lived in London right before the war in 2021 for a few months, but just being here now, walking around, I've missed so much. I didn't appreciate London enough. I didn't see all of the beauty of the city when I lived here.
What sort of things are you thinking of?
Just, the streets, the buildings, the architecture, just walking around London, it's so beautiful, but I just didn't appreciate it before the war started. So the war made me appreciate things.
Right. Viktoriia and Maryna Honcharuk, thank you so much for coming in. It's been just so interesting talking to both of you.